Hello, welcome to the Artist Way Adventure, Chapter 11. I am Marcella Nordbeck, your host. I'm a lady trucker coming to you from the cab of my truck here in Fountain, Colorado, where I'm doing my break, my 30-minute DOT break. I am doing the Artist Way, and we are in Chapter 11, so we only have one more chapter to go. But Chapter 11 is a great chapter. In this chapter, Julia talks about a few different important things for those of us on a creative path. In Chapter 11, one of the first things she begins talking about is under the section called acceptance. And in this chapter, she talks about the importance of finding the schedule that works best for us. She talks about some of us may find that a 9-to-5 day job feels really constricting and inhibits our creative flow, and others of us may want the stability of a day job. I've done both. I've worked in retail management, I've worked in offices, I took some time off, had what I call a 9-month creative sabbatical, got a taste of what it was like to go at being a full-time working artist and writer full-time for 9 months, and at the end of that 9 months I decided that I did desire the stability and structure of a full-time job, and eventually my journey led me to get into trucking, which has been an adventure in and of itself, but I'll save that for another video. So Chapter 11, Julia talks about first finding that balance, finding what works for us. And as artists, we're not all the same. Some of us are going to want 2 or 3 part-time jobs. One of us or some of us are going to want 1 full-time job. So she encourages us on our creative path to experiment and figure out what works for you and what doesn't, and adjust accordingly. She goes on to talk about success and that it's important to not get too attached to success we've had in the past. So if we had, say, a series of paintings or a music album that was really successful, she encourages us to still continue to stretch and grow, step out of our creative comfort zones, to not get in a creative rut, because she says ultimately what happens over time is what is in fashion one day isn't down the road, and so we need to constantly be reinventing ourselves and experimenting as artists. And as a painter, I'm having a lot of fun playing with poured paints right now, and I've bought supplies, and soon I'm going to be experimenting with alcohol ink. So I am heeding her advice and also stretching myself and stepping out of my comfort zones. She then goes on to talk about what she calls the Zen of Sports, and she talks about it doesn't matter what it is that we do to move our body, but Julia recommends that we get out there and we move. So it can be walking, which she encourages a lot throughout the book, yoga, dancing, actually playing a sport. Julia explains that the practice of our daily morning pages is sort of a prayer. It's a place where we get to pose questions, express frustrations. But she says during the morning pages, we won't sometimes, but not always, get the answers to those questions or those challenges. But it's when we actually start moving our body, moving energy, that ideas can drop in, and that's when the answers to those questions, the solutions to those problems, the next right step to take regarding what to do with a series of paintings, how to pursue marketing your work, those will come when we stop thinking about it and we move into our body. So she talks about the importance of what she calls the Zen of Sports. And then lastly, she talks about building your artist's altar, and I love this section of the book. It builds on the previous section where she talks about the importance of walking and then moving your body in general, one of them being walking. Specifically about walking, she says here, as an artist, walking offers the added benefit of sensory saturation. Things do not whiz by. We really see them. In a sense, insight follows from sight. We fill the well and later tap it more easily. And then she goes into the section about artist altars, and she talks about the importance of these sacred spaces. It's a place where we can take things that we've collected on a walk. Maybe it's an acorn or rock or seashell from walking on the beach, and they become touchstones and inspiration that we can draw from, that then inspires our work. And I love it when she says regarding artist altars, this haven can be a corner of a room, a nook under the stairs, even a window ledge. It is a reminder and an acknowledgement of the fact that our Creator unfolds our creativity. Fill it with things that make you happy. Remember that your artist is fed by images. We need to unlearn our old notion that spirituality and sensuality don't mix. An artist's altar should be a sensory experience. We are meant to celebrate the good things of this earth. Pretty leaves, rocks, candles, sea treasures, all these remind us of our Creator. So that is chapter 11 in a nutshell. And because I loved the section so much on artist altars, this video is showing images of my artist altars. One of them is in fact a windowsill in my studio, and the other one is the surface on top of a filing cabinet that also doubles as a table, but I use most of it as an artist altar. So you'll see that in the beginning and end of this video. That's some of the changes that you may be noticing if you've been following along. And there are more exciting changes to come. But in the meantime, we're going to move on to chapter 12 in The Artist's Way. And chapter 12 is on recovering a sense of faith. And then we'll be wrapping up The Artist's Way, and who knows what will come next. You'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, live creatively, and I'll talk to you again soon.